Look, here's the thing. I've never done a video like this before, but I thought it might be a very special occasion. Fantastic Four: First Steps has officially released Friday, July 25th, 2025. As I've now seen it, it will mark 3 days since its release, and 4 now since I'm getting to talk to you guys about it. But let me talk to you guys about my theater experience first. My good friend Anthony, his birthday was on Saturday, and I could be there, at least in the moment, to talk to him about it, or to celebrate with him. So, I did the thoughtful thing of asking him to come see this long-awaited movie with me. Let me tell you guys, theaters ain't getting any cheaper. $40 for 2 tickets is kind of blasphemous if you ask me. But that's not the point. When me and my buddy got in the theater, we talked, and we really didn't pay much attention to the trailers, previews, whatever you want to call them anymore. But one really caught my eye. It was the trailer for the hype building, Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. And the only reason I found it interesting is it kind of seems out of left field for a director of Nolan's standard per se to handle a task that tall. But if he wants to keep building his legacy and cement his name with the Tarantinos, the Hitchcocks, the Lynches, the Scorseses, you get the idea, the etc. I'm fine with that, and I will be there to see it and maybe do a video on it for you guys. But back to the movie at hand. Initially walking out of the theater, I felt, and I'm going to stand on this, I believe it is Marvel's creme de la creme. It is its best movie by a country mile. And Marvel, the MCU, yeah. For the first time, maybe since Avengers Endgame, that came out in 2019, so 6 years. 6 years. I felt that I believe that Kevin Feige finally cares about his product again. I walked out of that theater feeling like I just watched Star Wars: A New Hope again for the first time. As a science fiction movie, everything felt so stylized and of the period. It is a period piece. It is set in the 60s, and it is similar to another Disney movie that was drawing comparisons to the Fantastic Four for a while now. I have a good friend on TikTok named Lily, and she is an absolute expert on everything Fantastic Four and comics in general. More of an expert than me. But for a while, she'd always say her favorite Fantastic Four movie was The Incredibles. I knew she was joking, but deep down, you can really look at the similarities between the two, and you can't deny it. You can't deny it. Until, and way past that point, there actually hasn't been really a good representation of the four in cinema. The 2004 and 2007 movies kind of fell flat, and they felt of their time. The only people who really liked those movies were people who really only had nostalgia for those movies of the time period, with the Spider-Mans, the Raimi movies, the Thomas Jane Punishers. You get the idea. Not too many people know about the lost Fantastic Four movie that was supposed to come out in 1994, but it never got its theatrical release. And as far as the 2015 iteration, yeah. In conclusion, the Fantastic Four fandom has been starving for a good representation of the four for a while now. And I believe we finally got it. Before 2012 and Avengers came out, the Fantastic Four and the X-Men were regarded as Marvel's flagship teams. Past 2012, Avengers was such a hit to the general audience that these characters that people grew fond over since the 1960s finally took a back seat. Now we're here, July 29th, 2025. Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Joseph Quinn, and Ebon Moss-Bachrach. Correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm pronouncing that wrong. They did the unthinkable. They made the Fantastic Four cool again. I believe they all did an amazing job, as well as the supporting cast. I feel like I should mention that Matt Shankman put them in probably the best position to excel. The film had a cohesive story, stunning cinematography, and to put the cherry on top, it was faithful to the comics. They gave Ben Grimm Jewish heritage, which is fucking awesome. And not only to mention, Ebon Moss-Bachrach is Jewish, which is finally cool to see Jewish heritage in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Jack Kirby was Jewish, and he implemented some of these themes of Jewishness and Jewish practices into some of his characters. Kitty Pryde, The Thing, you get the idea. But well done, Marvel. I'll give you kudos to that. I'll clap for you there. Another point I want to bring up is that Sue Storm actually felt like the backbone of the Fantastic Four. And now there's two things that people tend to do. There's two things people tend to do when they talk about the Fantastic Four, and it really grinds my gears. They discredit how powerful Sue Storm actually is, and they don't remember that Reed Richards is the only smart one. They don't remember that Reed Richards isn't the only smart one. Now listen. You listen here and you listen good. The Susan Storm disrespect starts and it ends here. Jessica Alba from the 2004 movie and the 2007 movie has done so much brainwashing to a general audience that people forget Sue Storm is probably the most powerful. No, she is the most powerful Fantastic Four member. As for Reed, Pedro Pascal did an amazing job, and he actually kind of felt grounded in this movie, and I want to say that's kind of a good thing. Reed's usually at the forefront of the movie, and Reed's usually the forefront of the four, and in this movie, he is, but it feels different. It feels like no member was really above one another, and I quite like that. And that's the way it should always be. Which brings me to the last of the four, which I want to talk about, Johnny. Joseph Quinn, I owe you the biggest fucking apology. He was the most underrated character in this movie by far, and when the castings first got announced, Johnny was the one I was most skeptical about. I never was really a big Stranger Things fan, and I could only tolerate the Eddie Munson cult for so long. I can officially say I feel like he has range, and I'm excited for his future in the MCU. As for the main story itself, I said it's quite cohesive and it's faithful to what Jack Kirby and Stan Lee were writing back in the day. The story takes mainly from the issues Fantastic Four 33 to 51, that saga being called obviously Fantastic Four: The Coming of Galactus. The Fantastic Four face their greatest challenge to date when Earth is targeted by Galactus, a cosmic being who consumes planets to survive. I find that really cool. As he prepares to destroy Earth, his herald, the Silver Surfer, arrives to make way for his master. The heroes must find a way to stop this godlike threat, and the Silver Surfer, this mysterious and powerful being, descends to Earth to prepare them for Galactus and basically warn them. His appearance shocks the world and sets the stage for the cosmic events to follow. Galactus arrives on Earth in a colossal spacecraft, declaring his intention to consume the parent planet. His godlike appearance and indifference to humanity's survival creates a sense of overwhelming dread and awe. To fight this, Reed Richards builds the Ultimate Nullifier, which I find funny. It's only like a gun that's like this big, and it's hilarious. If you read the comic, it's great. I have here Fantastic Four Behold Galactus, which is basically the final issues of the story, but it's really good. It's in this book. Anyway, that's besides the point. Where was I? He builds the Ultimate Nullifier, a weapon powerful enough to destroy anything, including Galactus. The threat of it forces Galactus to reconsider destroying Earth. Galactus, really impressed by the resistance and the threat posed by the Nullifier, what was I going to say? He spares Earth, and he punishes Silver Surfer for his betrayal, and by exiling him to Earth. This marks the beginning of the Surfer's Complex, and often a really tragic arc in Marvel Comics. Personally, it's one of my favorite comic stories, The Coming of Galactus, and it's probably one of Marvel's most iconic stories ever. Now, comparing it to the movie, it's definitely dramatized. You can see that. That's how, generally speaking, that's what happens with all Marvel movies, but to the scale of the story and what's important, what it does for Marvel. Where was I? It's important for Marvel going forward now, it's crucial. I'm not going to spoil the post-credit scene because Marvel usually always has one, but what they've done now is open a gateway for some of Marvel's better stories to be told. I'm going to mind you, the X-Men are coming. Eventually, they'll get the Hulk right, and the point of the story is Marvel is going to feel like Marvel. If you've ever really picked up a comic book, I have a few back here. I don't feel like getting one out. I knocked something over. If you've ever picked up a comic book, you've really seen the moments between characters who really don't normally. It gets to a point where the world gets only so bloated that you have to kind of reset and get maybe back to the roots of what originally started this phenomenon of superheroes, right? And I thought it was really cool to finally see a good representation of Marvel's first family in cinema. Thank you for watching. I'll maybe do a video like this in the future. But, yeah, that's it. Love you guys. Bye.